how do we deal with anti-Semitism? And part of the problem is that the organization that is most empowered, whose brief is to sort of defend us against anti-Semitism, the Anti-Defamation League, has become, sort of a political player itself.
And I applaud you, Jonathan, because you have had your foot on that accelerator from the beginning on the ADL problem, and no one has stayed with this issue more than you have. Sorry to interrupt you, but it's something I had wanted to mention. It's very rare that a person, in Jonathan's position would take a position that is just very not mainstream the way Jews understand it. They think of the ADL as the ADL of Abe Foxman and before, the ADL that, came out in the aftermath of the Leo Frank lynching. Yeah. They see it as a Jewish organization. And Jonathan, you must be commended for sticking with this argument. And you won't let it go. And I admire it. You won't let it go. Look, part of the problem is we have these legacy organizations that have giant war chests that have become enterprises on behalf of the progressive left, that they believe they're bona fides to prove their value. And I'm talking about the American Jewish Committee. I'm talking about all of the Jewish legacy organizations for the most part. They don't represent Jews. It's not clear to me. They have donors and they have boards of directors. I understand. But it's not clear to me they're Jewish organizations. They have the name, they have the imprimatur of Jewish organizations, but they're doing the bidding of the progressive left. They are much more interested in gender neutral bathrooms than they are on Israel. They're interested in issues that, they're interested in Black Lives Matter. They're not really interested in Hasidic Jews in Brooklyn being beaten up on the street or Jews on the Diamond District beat. They're not really interested in that way. They want to be first in line. And this is why I don't think Chuck Schumer is a Jewish senator. He's a senator, not a Jewish senator. I don't care if he belongs to a synagogue. He's not a Jewish senator for my purposes because he's not standing up for Jews in the way that African-American leaders do for African-Americans or Hispanic leaders do for Hispanic. Jewish politicians are afraid to stand up for Jews. They're terrified. They would make them very uncool. It's a real problem. We see this. It's true of intellectual Jews, academic Jews. They're not really Jews because what they're interested in is they want to make friends. They want to get invited to the right parties. They want to sit at the right lunch tables. They want tenure. They want to make partner. They want another social circle. And they know, again, this shows an absence of moral clarity and personal integrity. But they know if they shout out, Israel is the worst human rights violator in the history of the world, they're in. And if they say, and I've been to Israel and I used to love Israel and I planted
speaking as a Jew, speaking,
as a Jew, I'm a Jew, but I despise my people. We're terrible people. Can I go to your party now? Will you let me in now? Please let me in now. Now, again, it certainly did not help the Berlin Jews in the 30s that many of them had received medals in World War I. It didn't matter. In the end, none of this matters. But we've got a problem that we don't have a grassroots movement of Jews that will stand up for Jews and stand up for Israel. We have people in leadership positions, whether they're elected political officials or the heads of Jewish legacy organizations, that believe that their mandate is to prove that they are progressive and woke, that they can prove that they are on the progressive side and that they are critical of Israel. They get something out of that. And then we have this other serious problem, Jonathan, which you are partly there to remedy, is most Jews are just ignorant about these issues. They have no idea. They really don't. They don't know how to defend Israel. If someone says, Israel stole Arab land, most Jews have no comeback to that. It's shocking to me. There's a lot to say. And I know I'm a law professor too. And I know I do this for a living. But I'm shocked that they have nothing to say. They have no idea how to respond. Israel's an apartheid state. I guess they are. They hear that. Well, that sounds pretty, yeah, people are saying that. I hear people saying it must be true. So Jews, grassroots Jews that are just unaffiliated entirely, really just don't know. They don't know what's going on campus. They don't know what's going on in mainstream media's coverage of Israel. They don't know what academics do. They don't know what Jewish academics do in particular, right? Or really, really part of the problem. Jewish academics, Jewish journalists. I always say, I always give him, elevation by saying it's a better career move to be Peter Beinart than Thane Rosenbaum. It's just better. It's a better career move.
Alas.
Alas.
Peter Beinart, the left-wing anti-Zionist.
It's better to be Michael
Jewish
Shabaum
pundit
than Thane Rosenbaum. It's just better.
Yes.
It's just better. And I applaud them for knowing it's a better career move.
Yeah, it's better than being Jonathan Tobin too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I can say about their Jewish soul. I don't know if it's intact, but I think it's a good career move. So I don't know. The answer is the deck is very terribly stacked because we don't have a critical mass, of the Jonathan Tobins leading the charge, knowing what to say, knowing what is truly anti-Semitic, right? That they don't understand. There's so much that they don't know. Like, for instance, Jews continue to write checks to universities that hate them. I'm an alumnus. Of course I have to write. No, you don't. Stop writing those checks. Stop. What are you doing? And call the president and tell him you're stopping and tell him why. Tell him you've been find out what their Middle East Studies department says and what it does. You've been reading the tweets. You've been reading the anti-Israel rhetoric, this stuff about the IDF harvesting organs of Palestine. This is nonsense. And this is not what a research institution should be in the business of doing. So if you're never going to see my money again until you clean that up. We just don't have the critical mass of people who care enough or know enough to take principled positions on behalf of the Jewish people. So I'm very skeptical because I only look at, I look at Jonathan Tobin. He's a hero. I go, yeah, he's the guy that won't stop. But there are not enough of him. And I don't know how many people are prepared to get in line behind him.